there, then I think we can all agree that Inside Out is the greatest film to ever come out ever this year. I personally have already seen it twice, and I can tell you it only gets better the second time. But one thing has been bothering me. Why does Riley have multi-gendered emotions? So throughout the movie Inside Out, we zoom inside the head of a variety of different characters, and inside each person's head we find 5 different emotions, and in each head those 5 emotions always match the gender of the person they're inside of, except for our main character Riley, who has 3 female emotions, joy, sadness, and disgust, and 2 male emotions, anger and fear. Seems odd that there would be 2 little men inside the head of a little girl, so what gives? Today I'm going to discuss what I think are the main possibilities and my opinions on those theories. Spoilers! Well, sort of. I don't really think so. I mean, you know what? Just watch the video and then go watch the movie, and if I totally ruined it for you, you can come tell me. Alright, let's get the most controversial one out of the way first. Riley has dual emotions because Riley is bisexual. I've asked a lot of people this question, and this is probably the most common response or suggestion I get. She has 2 genders inside of her head, so obviously that translates into her sexuality. I mean, she is kind of a tomboy. She plays ice hockey, traditionally a more manly sport, even though there is professional women's ice hockey. Heck, even her imaginary friend is male. And cat. And elephant. And cotton candy. And dolphin. Who's your friend who likes to sing? Raise your hand if you finish the jingle. But I really don't think this is the case. I mean, it's not your emotions that determine your sexual preference. I mean, whatever your sexual orientation is, you would still have every emotion. Second, this idea would kind of suggest that, like, if you zoomed inside the head of a gay person, you would find a full set of the opposite gender. Right? Because if this is your argument, the little boys in her head like girls and the girls like guys. But I don't really like this idea because from what I know, and let me just say I am not trying to offend anyone or open any can of worms, and if you want to have a constructive conversation about what I'm about to say down in the comments, I would love to be a part of that. But from what I gather, just because you're gay doesn't mean you identify as the opposite sex, right? So a gay man can still identify as a man, and I don't think that would affect the gender of their emotions. But really the strongest case against this is that there's nothing sexual about this movie at all. Riley's an 11-year-old girl who hasn't even hit puberty yet, so her sexuality doesn't necessarily matter, especially towards the plot of this movie. Plus, when we're in Imagination Land, we literally see that she has a machine producing her dream boyfriend. So, moving on, the next most common response I get from people about why Riley has different gendered emotions is she's a kid and she doesn't have fully developed emotions yet. I kind of like this explanation, and if we take a look inside of mom and dad's head, there are a couple of key differences that I think really support it. For one, unlike in Riley's head where everyone is standing up, inside the head of each of her parents, all the emotions are sitting down, and there appears to be a lead emotion. And unlike in Riley's head where everyone is scrambling to grab the controls as fast as they can, the one lead emotion understands the role of all the different emotions and instructs the appropriate one to make the appropriate response in any given situation. Additionally, the parents' emotions all have a unifying trait. Moms all have red glasses and dads all have mustaches, whereas Riley's don't have this. They're all just sort of unique looking. All this to me suggests that over time, Riley becomes in greater control of her emotions. The emotions become more organized and begin to work better together, and as such start to look a little bit more similar. So I would guess that by the time Riley is like in her late teens, anger and fear would have shifted over into this female look as well. But Jay, what about that cool girl at the end of the movie? She's the same age as Riley and all of her emotions are female and they have a unifying blue streak. Well, don't worry, I've not forgotten about her. And if anything, I think this supports this theory. I think probably the reason she's cool is because she is a little bit more mature and has more control over her emotions. I mean, that's normally who the cool kids are, the ones who mature a little sooner and kind of have things figured out, even though she does appear to be a little bit insecure. But my favorite theory, and really this is just kind of an extension of the last one, is that Riley has different gendered emotions because she is learning different emotions from each of her parents. We see inside of Dad's head that anger is in control and fear appears to be his number 2, so it would make sense that inside of Riley's head, anger and fear are both male emotions. In Mom's head, on the other hand, sadness is in control. I didn't really observe a number 2 in Mom's head, but it still translates that sadness is female for Riley. As far as joy goes, I think they specifically reserved that character for Riley, so she matches the gender of her character, and disgust, well, let's face it, how could they cast anyone but Mindy Kaling for Disgust? She was perfect. And hey, I mean, to that end, maybe they just cast everyone that is so they'd have a more diverse cast that's marketable to a more global audience of boys and girls, and it has nothing to do with Riley's character or the overall story at all. No, that can't be it. Then my question for you and everyone else is, what do you think? Why does Riley have dual genders inside of her head? Let me know down in the towel section below, and I will see you in another life, brother.
These socks are amazing!
If you want to learn more about this exact question, I have left a link to an interview with the director of the film and the head of Pixar about how they interpreted this question. If you just want to learn more about Inside Out, you can check out Ben's video over to my left from last week, and if you want to find out how Inside Out fits into the Pixar theory, you can check out my video. Also, we would greatly appreciate it if you would follow us over on Twitter. I try to respond as many comments as I can here on YouTube, but I can really only do that when I'm at a computer and I have my phone with me all day. My screen name is @Jonkerlin. See you there.